Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and I'm once again joined by my lovely co-host Angel.
Hi. If you may notice a little bit that I have caught a cold. So if I'm coughing and I'm congested, that's why. I do work at a school, so here you are.
And it's winter, so it happens.
And it's winter.
It's like you caught my cold virtually that I had last time. Today we're back discussing Port Charles, Tainted Love. We're on week 4. We are past the nurse's ball, and we're really diving into what we've been working towards this week. So roll the credits and we'll get into it. Okay, so we open with I put Gabby just wants to have sex with Joe. That's all she wants to do.
Yeah, that's all it is. Do what comes naturally, Gabby.
But she's almost like disconnected. Like she's going through the motions, but her face is like, or her mind is elsewhere. You could see it in her eyes. She's just kind of like, and I'm like, can she not stop? She just wants to keep going. And Joe's like, whoa, calm down.
Whoa, wait a minute, calm down, girl.
Jamal tells Allison that Jack beat up all those guys in the alley, and that she's moving back in with her granny. I love when he calls her granny.
Yeah. I love that, like, he packs her bag and then she
takes it out.
takes it out.
Every time you put something in, she's like, it out.
Like, nope, not doing that. Oh, bye.
That was cute. Jack shows up at Lucy's looking for Livy, clearly out of it. Lucy wants to know like what's going on with him, and he starts to have like one of his rage tantrums, I guess. And he knocks a glass out of Lucy's hand. In Caleb's lair, Livy wants to know what she and Caleb are doing there. And he says he'll give her everything she desires and make her happy. Lucy finds the bullet hole in Jack's jacket that from the shootout, from the police officer, who says that he thought Jamal had a gun. I don't forget.
No, we don't forget about that. We don't forget about that one cop that we don't forget.
I want his badge.
Prison's electric chair. Boom.
She doesn't understand how he survived that, how he didn't have a wound. And then she's also trying to like rationalize it. She's like, well, maybe it just grazed you. She's like, and maybe that's why you're acting the way you are. Cause maybe like, cause it grazed you, you got an infection. And she's like, we got to get you to the hospital. Livy asks Caleb if he wants her to stay in the lair. And he says he wants her to choose to stay. And that he can already see in her eyes that she wants to. And no, that's a little bit later. I put Gabby looks traumatized after sex with Joe. She's just kind of sitting there like
that's what she's like. She's just like staring off into the distance. Like
it's almost like she's like, I can't stop, but I don't want to be doing this, but we have to go again. Like her body's just like she doesn't have control of her own body, which is true.
Yeah. Fun fact, I forgot. I just found out about this. Ian Overman, who plays Gabby, is on Tyler Perry movies. I forgot which ones though, but she's.
Oh, that is right. I've seen her. I don't know which ones either, but I have seen her because I do watch a lot of Tyler Perry movies.
Yeah, so I'm happy that she's still acting. I'm really happy about that.
Also, side note, I don't know if you watch BET Plus. I don't know if you have that app.
Oh, I don't. That's one of the only ones I don't have.
So I'm like addicted to BET Plus. That's like all I watch now. But my friend Kyle told me that Tyler Perry like owns it. So it's like most of the content is like Tyler Perry content.
Ooh, and Jamie Ginnon's sisters now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's so 2024 he's gonna be on Sisters, and then he's back on Days of Our Lives. He announced it on the Locker Room.
Oh, I only watched half the Locker Room. I still have like a half hour left of it.
Yeah. Oh, oops. Sorry. Then I spoiled that.
No, Lynn told me, but I just wanted to watch. I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
watching
So
it.
yeah, so, so I think Janet brought him back. So
Oh,
Janet
that's so cool.
Tucker. Yep.
Yeah, because Lynn texted me and I was like, no, because like I didn't know like the conversation yet. I was like, oh no, he said he owes them like 2 more scripts after the strike, and he was like, no, he said he's back, and I was like, oh, cool.
Mm.
But yeah, so maybe one of Tyler Perry's movies with her in it is on there because a lot of his content. Back to Port Charles.
Yeah, back to Port Charles.
So Gabby ends up telling Joe that she met someone, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, he's like, "What?
Like, when? How?"
When? How?
She's like, "I didn't plan it," and it's like almost like she just like saw him from across the room, which is semi-true, and she just decided that she didn't want to be with Joe anymore. And he's like, "But he's like, you still like made love to me." I think he said made love because I think that's what they say. They don't say sex.
They don't.
He's like, "What, as a going away present?" And he leaves. He says, "I hope you and this new guy are happy, like have a happy life together." And he storms out. Caleb and Livy dance, and I was laughing. Well, first I'm like, "There's no music. We hear music, but there's no music in that layer."
No, he didn't. He didn't play. He didn't play like he didn't put a like little tape. Well, in this
A
case,
record,
or
anything.
a cassette or a CD or anything like that.
And at some point, they get faster and faster, and because she's so tiny, he like literally is lifts her, and because her feet aren't on the floor, and he's just like spinning her around and around and around. I'm like, "What, are you gonna make her dizzy so she passes out?"
You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record.
And then when they finally stop spinning around, they're kissing.
Oh.
So I don't know if it was like him putting a spell on her.
I'm thinking of another song, but I've exhausted my singing this.
The Hocus Pocus, I put a spell on you.
Yes, the Hocus Pocus.
And now you're mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of songs popped in my head this week when I saw scenes. We'll get to it.
Oh my god.
Where am I? Lucy brings Jack to the hospital, and he has 104 fever.
Ooh.
And Karen gave him a ton of sedatives, but he's unaffected by it. She's like, I basically gave him enough to like put down a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like unaffected. Oh, I skipped a part. This is after Lucy's trying to like help him. She gets a cold cloth compress to put on him because he's very hot. And after she does that, he's like looking at her like all intense, and he like basically tries to force himself on top of Lucy.
Yeah.
And she punches him.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
But still decides she's gonna help him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she brings him to the hospital. Livy pulls away from Caleb and says she loves Jack and to stop calling her Olivia and leave her alone, and she runs out of the lair. Caleb remembers Michael saying he loved Olivia too, and Caleb destroyed her. And he screams, Olivia!
Olivia!
And I'm like, she said don't call her that. She's not going to answer to it.
Not gonna answer to it, no. It reminds me of okay, you're familiar with Luke Spencer, but you know how Luke Spencer calls people that he like doesn't like or that he doesn't care for by their like government name. So he calls Alexis Natasha, he calls Carly Caroline. He just calls Helena, but
doesn't he also make up nicknames for people?
Yeah, he makes up nicknames like Blaze for Sky. I think he calls Laura Angel. Now that I think about it, because of that song. Well, then they played the song "Angels" by Robin Thicke. Let's back into her. Oh my gosh! But yeah, but that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. Um, Karen tells Lucy Jack was given a blood transfusion,
Mm.
and they go in to see him, and he's like, good as new. All
Just is
good.
right. We'll see them.
Um,
Hey, I just want to see Livy.
Eve and Ian are at the monastery, and they find Michael's toolbox knocked over,
Mm.
and they hear a noise in the cellar. So Eve wants to go look, and Ian's like, no. He's like, he told us that's where he locks his brother up. And I'm like, who says that like it's normal? Like,
Yeah,
no,
right.
this is his brother. Leave him locked in there. Like, that feels illegal, and like the police should be
Yeah,
involved.
it does.
But we'll go with it. They end up going down there, and they find Michael. Jamal and Allison beg Livy to stay away from Jack until they talk to someone that might know what is wrong with him. And I didn't understand why they thought Jamal's cousin would be able to help them with this. She's a lawyer. She's not a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know why they went to Dara Jensen, like, aside from the fact that, like, I guess the audience needs to be reminded that they're cousins. So,
Yeah, I laughed because there was a scene with Chris and Jack, and he's like, we're brothers. And I was like, that's such soap opera writing that you have to throw in how they're related just to remind the audience if in case somebody new is watching.
Yeah.
My brother. Like, yeah, we know that. Thanks.
You guys have the same last name.
Right. And if they don't know it, they'll figure it out eventually. Eve decides she's going to call the police because Michael was locked down there for they don't know how long. I don't understand why he's all dirty though. Like he was just in the basement. He had like dirt on his face.
I know he got pushed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Before Caleb left.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where that came from, but that's the only thing I'm think of with that.
Jamal and Allison. Oh, I did that already. Sam finds Chris to tell him she doesn't scare easy, but she's scared of Jack, and that he scared like her gang out of town. Like these men are tough, and they just the minute it happened, they left. So I don't know if she's scared that he's gonna come after her next. I was unclear if she was afraid of whoever wanted the diamonds was gonna come after her, and she was all there by herself because the gang abandoned her. I don't really remember what happens to her. I was like, I wonder if she does die.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she doesn't last long, but I've already said that about Ariana, and look how long she had lasted.
To the bitter end.
To the bitter end of time in the bottle.
Chris goes into Jack's room and he tries to take blood from Jack, and Jack freaks out and he threatens to kill him and Lucy and Karen and the security that's like trying to like calm him down. He grabs his clothes and he gets dressed. They chase him out of the room, and he actually throws a fire extinguisher. He rips a fire extinguisher off the wall and throws it at him, and it combusts.
And that combusts, and I like the effect of that. And I'm wondering if it had to have been like, excuse me, real, like real smoke. So I like how people just like came out of like the fire, the smoke, and I like that a lot.
Also, that feels illegal, like pulling a fire alarm.
Oh yeah, it does.
But they just let it slide because he's Chris's brother. Like police were not called. Where am I? Oh, Michael doesn't want help with the situation with Caleb, but it's too late. The police are already called. And Eve asks Ian if they could stick around for a few days to make sure Caleb doesn't come back. And Jack shows up at Livy's place. And she's all like, Jack, I love you. They're hugging. And he's like, I love you too. And he's like staring into the mirror, looking suspicious. Lucy goes to see I put the man that was fishing with Victor, but then they said judge. I forgot he was a judge.
Yeah, he's a judge, yeah.
Yeah. Because she wants to know what happened to him in the woods. And he doesn't want to talk about it. She's begging him, and he's like freaking out, twitching. And And he makes her think that he is going to tell her, but he's going to whisper it. So he asks her to come closer,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up getting free from his restraints and strangling her.
Mm.
Kevin comes to her rescue along with some other help, and they sedate him. So
I'm guessing it's a tech.
I was confused why the sedation works on him but not on Jack.
Yeah, me too.
It's very selective sedation. Livy tells Jack how everyone has warned her how he's dangerous and to stay away from him.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she loves him and she feels safe with him, and she asks him if she's wrong. They end up making love. I don't know if I looked down, because then, like, next time I looked, they were like done. They were like sleeping in Afterglow.
So what they did was they had them kissing, and then the next scene was them. We didn't see like a montage.
Okay.
So and then the next one was where they were sleeping together.
Okay. That's why I was confused. I'm like, oh, okay. Kissing just left up. Well, they're together, so it doesn't matter. I just didn't see any like clothes come off or like anything insinuating that, but that was where we picked up.
Yeah.
So now Livy and him are asleep on the couch, and she's dreaming. She's moaning, enjoying her dream, and we think she's dreaming about Jack. But when she turns to look at the man that she's in bed with, it's Caleb.
Nope.
And they kiss in the dream, and I was like, "Oh, this is hot." This is why I fell in love with the show.
This is hot.
I was like, still hot. I actually was like, I was actually like, I should clip this and put it on the socials. People would be so confused. They'll be like, "Why is Sam McCall kissing whoever he's playing on GH now, like Finn or
Finn Hamilton Finn?" Yep.
Like the people that weren't alive back then, the 20-year-olds that are watching GH.
A disclaimer: we approve of 20-year-olds watching GH.
Yes, keep watching. We're just saying you weren't there.
Keep watching, just like just know your history too. Listen to our podcast.
At the hospital, Gabby needs Joe to sign off on some papers, and Karen's there. She doesn't know the situation that's gone on between them. And she's like, "Oh, you guys must be getting ready to, or you guys are going to be signing papers somewhere else soon." And Joe's like, "Yeah, no, that's not happening." So Karen pulls Gabby to the side. And at first Gabby's like, "Is this like a work thing or is this like a personal thing?" And she's like, "No, like we're friends." She's like, "And I care about Joe and I care about you. And I want to know what's going on." And Gabby just describes that she met someone. She saw him from across the room. She couldn't resist him. She's never felt this way about anybody in her life. And somehow in her ramblings, I guess she mentioned she doesn't even know his name. And Karen's like, "You don't even know his name, and like you're willing to throw away your relationship." And she's like, "I just know that we're meant to be together." So I really don't know how Gabby plays into this. I really don't remember. Like, is she like his side piece? Does he like mess around with Gabby sexually, or does he just like use her for like his bidding? That was a rhetorical question. I don't really want to know.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think if I remember correctly, it's the latter.
Yeah. Poor thing. Because like the way she's acting, she's like, "No, I want him. Like that's my man." Like I don't know if this happens, but I wouldn't mind seeing like a fight between her and Livy over him.
Yeah, if this was like HBO, it would not only be Gabby, it would not only be Livy fighting over him, it'd be the judge, and it'd be Jack fighting over him.
Right. Could you imagine Jack being like, "No, I love him." Even Ian tell Michael that they're engaged and that they want him to perform the ceremony, and he says that he can't, mostly because I think he thinks he has to go to Port Charles, which doesn't feel that far because everybody's in this wood.
Yeah, everybody's in the woods. Like Port Charles is not that far.
Livy thinks about Caleb and the lair, and Oh, I have questions, and I was like, I forgot what my questions are, but now I remember. So in the flashback that she was thinking about being in the lair with Caleb, he
Hmm.
was like, "This is your home now," and it was basically a cave with a bed. And my questions were, how do we eat? Where do we
Yes.
go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Like, is there plumbing?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm so stupid. I just made crack myself up. I started thinking about that meme that's like, I am not a ride or die chick. Like, where are we go? I have questions. Where are we going? Will there be food?
Uh-huh.
Why do I have to die? So yeah, but my main question was like, is there a toilet? Like,
I mean, it's not any more implausible than other soap opera houses. Like, you know,
yeah,
it's assumed that there's a bathroom. If you were watching Young and the Restless a few weeks ago when Nikki was trapped in Aunt Jordan's house,
uh-huh,
it shows a bathroom, but it only shows a sink. It
right.
doesn't show a toilet or a shower.
Well, at least that, because in a lot of like kidnap situations, especially on soap operas, they'll be gone for like weeks, months,
Mhm.
and there's never a bathroom. And
Yeah.
it's not something we're supposed to think about, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
Also, ever since like it's been years now, but ever since I found out that when a person dies, like their body just like releases like all their bodily fluids.
Hmm.
Whenever
I found out
anybody
a
dies
last
on
night.
TV, I'm like, I wonder if they pooped.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's what I think.
It's okay. No, I found this out on South Park, so the worst way.
um, Chris comes to see Jack with a proposal. This is when he was like, we're brothers, and I was like, huh,
Mhm.
yeah, I know. Um, and he basically wants to use him as like a science experiment to try and figure
Mhm.
out what's going on with him and to like come up with an anecdote.
Basically, a guinea pig.
Yeah. And initially, Jack pushes back, but he kind of comes around to the idea.
Hmm.
But then I guess like whatever's going on with him kind of takes over.
Hmm.
Um, and he attacks Chris.
Hmm.
Livy thinks that Caleb is in his lair, so she calls Allison, but she says don't tell Jamal. Now this is why Jack was alone and Chris came to see him. So her and Allison go to the lair, but it's empty. The bed's not there. It's just a cave. And this is another instance where a song pops into my head because they're fighting about Jack and how he's been acting, and Allison basically like calls him a zombie, and Livy's like, no, he's not. Stop saying that. And she's like, Livy, you know it's true. And girl, you know it's true. Pops in my head.
Oh, I was also thinking of Zombie by the Cranberries.
Oh no, that's gonna be stuck in my head all
No,
day.
no.
um, they hear a noise, and the audience, I guess, is supposed to think that maybe Caleb's there.
Hmm.
Um, back at Livy's place, Jack and Chris are talking about his symptoms because he's trying to think of like I guess he needs to know the details so he can start working on the anecdote.
Hmm.
And he is back turned to Jack, and Jack says he's hungry all the time,
Hmm.
and he also gets this uncontrollable urge to kill.
Mm.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I feel like we
uh,
should be writing these down to figure out like what's going on with these characters. Writing all the symptoms down. Okay, symptoms of whatever the hell is going to be revealed at the end of this week. Uh,
but none of them are similar, are the same. Like Gabby's
they
not
are.
the judge was cold.
I feel like it affects women. I don't want to say females, women more than like differently than those men.
It makes them horny.
Yeah, so there's arousal in women.
So
Mental arousal.
Eve has an idea that she wants to get married tonight, right now. And she thinks that that'll basically force Michael into officiating the wedding.
Mhm,
That way he doesn't have to go to Port Charles, even though
mhm.
Port Charles is really close.
Yes.
Um, Lucy and Kevin go to the woods so Lucy could do some kind of seance or like crystal chant energy
Mhm.
thing. I don't really know like how she thought that was going to give her answers or what answers that was going to give her, but okay.
But the
Uh,
universe will give her answers, I'm sure of it.
Kevin's messing with her. He's making noises, freaking her out. And they eventually give up and they leave. But we see yellow eyes in the bushes.
Mm.
And that made me think of the panther, like when Marlena turned into a panther when she was young.
Yes, a brilliant to the Panther. Ah.
And I was like, is it Caleb or is it something else?
Hmm.
Because I don't remember him having yellow eyes. I don't know.
I don't know.
Um, so Michael agrees to marry them. And the whole time, like when Eve and Ian were getting ready and he like decorated the church, she comes in with a wedding dress. I'm like, where did she get a wedding dress so quick? But
That
they
fits
answered.
her.
Yeah, right. But they answered it. She found it in the
Mm.
cellar. So that must have been Olivia's. Um, but it looked familiar, and I feel like Livy's gonna be wearing that dress at some point.
Mhm.
Because just the cut is what reminded me of it on the
Yeah.
top. I was like, that looks like a familiar dress.
Mhm.
So now I
Definitely.
have questions of how Caleb's gonna get the dress back from her. Also, quickest wedding ever, especially for a half-hour daytime show. And I guess it's
Yeah.
because it's an arc and they just got to keep moving.
You gotta keep it going. Gotta keep it going. Gotta keep it
Because usually weddings, like it's like a week-long thing. There's always like before the wedding, everybody's arriving and they're talking,
going.
and there's usually other side drama happening, and then it's like getting ready for the wedding. This is just like we should get married today, and then like halfway through the episode, they're getting married.
Uh-huh. And then even on Port Charles before the arcs, like the weddings were at least like a few days long. Like they had like who was the last person to get married on before the arcs? I think it might have been Lucy and Scott or even Kevin. One of them.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, even the Nurses Ball, it was 2 episodes. It was like a Wednesday, Thursday, and it was like
Uh-huh.
back to Caleb and all the other drama.
Hmm.
um, so not Kevin, Ian and Eve go back to the cabin, and he carries her in like
Over the
tradition.
threshold.
And she's like, "No, you're supposed to do that at our home." And he's like, "It is our home because he bought it."
So they have two homes now?
Yeah, they have his apartment in Port Charles and now the cabin, cabin in the woods. Sounds like a horror movie.
Sounds like a horror movie. Yep.
Um, so Jack attacks Chris when he sees the needle, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I can't trust you," and he's like, "I just need to take your blood." He's like, "I don't believe you," and he ends up turning the needle on Chris and giving it to him.
Mm.
And Allison, Allison and Jamal, was Livy there?
No, it's just House of Jamal.
Okay, so Allison and Jamal come in, they break it up, and Jack leaves. I thought Livy was there.
No, because with the water, I don't remember Livy being there.
Yeah, I don't remember her being there for that part. Maybe she was there and then she ran. She was there because then
Oh,
she
she
ran
wasn't.
after Jack.
Yep. She
Because
ran
I
after.
remember her saying, "The three of us care about you. Like we're gonna help you." Because he's like, "I don't know what's wrong with me." Um. So Chris is now he runs out. Chris is now unconscious. They can't wake him up.
Mhm.
Um. Jamal goes to get like water and pour on his face. That doesn't wake him up.
Which I actually thought he was gonna do it like a comedy spoof, like the way comedy they do in a
I did
comedy.
too. I was like, "Oh, how's he gonna do this?"
But he did it like very slowly, which was also equally as funny to me.
Um, Allison says that they're smelling salts that they could use. So did he wake up? Did they get him up?
I don't think they did this week.
Okay. So maybe that was the last thing they said. Livy runs after Jack and follows him to their spot by the water. And she says she's not afraid of him. She wants to help him. She loves him.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets really scary and she trips and falls and I guess passes out.
Yeah, I think she hits her head.
And he goes to see like if she's okay, try to wake her up. And Caleb emerges from the bushes. And Jack is basically like, you don't want to mess with me. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And Caleb's like, I made you.
Bitch, I made you.
And he does like this weird like and I was like, oh, we're doing it. We're just doing it.
Yep, I actually remember that from the first airing. So either the first airing or the soap net airing. But
did you have any clue that? Did you like know, or did you have any like? Were you like guesstimating that this is what they were doing?
There might have been like speculation that there were vampires that I've read either online or in the in like one of the magazines.
Okay.
I think there was speculation. I was like, oh, what is it? It could be a vampire. It could be like zombie. It could be something. It could be like we know it's something supernatural. We just don't know what it is. So I think it was on message boards, and I forgot which message boards. It might have been Woast or Soap Opera. What's the one that's still up? Network. I think that was. I think I was like reading that Soap Opera Network. I wasn't as active on there. I was like kind of lurking, and I always lurk on Soap Opera Network. So
I used to go on the Soap City boards, which was basically just Y&R and Days because it was like the Sony soaps.
They were supposed to have a channel, and I don't know what happened with it.
Were they?
Yeah, so Soap City was supposed to be was supposed to be another soap opera channel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Would have had but I guess they couldn't get a lot of the soaps on there. So they could only get Y&R and Days.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never happened.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember so Days and Y&R had their websites through that, and I remember the Last Blast crew had like a sub website. It was like .com, like it's whole
.com. Yes, I remember
that. Devoted to them.
And I was like, oh, and then Ken Corday was like trying to spin them off into like a soap into like a
I heard that, yeah.
Them off.
Uh-huh.
And then people were like, he must be on crack.
Yeah, I remember hearing that they were trying to do a spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
I also remember reading like in the 90s they were thinking about spinning Marlena off and calling it like Manhattan Days. Like,
and then there was Pacific Lives too, but I forgot who was.
Or Manhattan Lives or something like that.
Yeah, Manhattan Lives, and I think there was Pacific Lives too, but I forgot who would have been on Pacific Lives.
I would have liked that.
I'm wondering if Pacific Lives had like, if that would have been the Horton characters that weren't featured, like Sandy.
Didn't Kim go to California?
Oh yeah, she did.
So I wonder if maybe she would have been
maybe that would have been Kim, yeah.
Maybe it would have been like the Donovans and the Bradys.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Bradys. But yeah, so Caleb's a vampire. He showed his teeth.
So that means, by comparison, Jack's a vampire. Because he did say he made him.
And the promo did say that the two men in Livy's life may have more in common than she thinks.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So maybe he'll show his teeth next week.
Oh my gosh, I got teeth.
My gums hurt. Yeah, I'm excited. So now we're in it. We don't have to like skirt around the subject. We're vampires. We're here.
Get used to it.
This is it. So this is a good week. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're all good weeks now.
Yeah, they are.
They're just progressing at a really decent speed.
Yeah, breakneck speed at times too, but I like it.
it feels consistently at the speed, whereas the other arcs, I feel like there would be slower weeks, and then all of a sudden it'd be like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
why is all this happening? um, so yeah, I'm excited because I remember how it ends. I just don't know how we get there.
Yeah, and then the fact that the thing I'm like, I think because this happened like around 9/11, the next arc I don't remember as much. I think because of 9/11, I just fell off of it.
Hmm.
Like I fell off of it, and then I pick it back up at Miracles Happen. So
I think the same thing happened to me.
yeah.
Um, and the next arc must have ended around Thanksgiving because I remember being home for the ending. So I remember how Tempted ends also
Hmm.
because it was almost like a sequel to Tainted Love. It was a
Yeah,
similar story arc.
yeah, because they have a similar like card.
Yeah,
Like they have Caleb with the eyes, and then they have somebody else with eyes, but I don't know who it is.
maybe Gabby.
Maybe no, it's a man. It's a man.
Oh, it's a man.
Yeah, it's a man. It's a blue background, and it's blue. It's like covered in blue, and then it's somebody's eyes. I want to
Um,
say it's Chris or Jack.
okay. Um, so you know how YouTube will suggest videos to you?
Uh-huh.
So I went on and it was a Port Charles related video, and like they'll play like the first few seconds of it, like sometimes if you scroll over it, and it was like Ian with vampire teeth, and I'm like, I don't remember that happening at
Oh
all.
my
When does that happen?
god.
I don't even know if it's this arc. It could be like a later arc. Who knows? But like, I was like, I don't remember that.
You know what? It makes sense because Caleb comes back at Naked Eyes, I think.
Okay.
Because I know, like, for a while, Caleb wasn't on there, and then, like, I remember I watched the video and somebody made a joke, like, and we never see Caleb again, except when the ratings went down, they had to bring him back.
Right. Wasn't that when he was Stephen Clay though, or pretending to be
Yeah,
Stephen?
Stephen Clay. Yep.
Hmm. I'm excited to get to it all.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to add? Did I miss anything?
Uh, no, everything seems to be covered. I'm glad to see Dara Jensen, even if it was for a scene.
Right. And when I saw her, I was like, oh, because that's the one performance we actually didn't talk about. She performed at the nurses' ball. She like closed
Yeah,
it
somewhere
out.
over the rainbow.
Yeah. Like what I remembered after the fact. I was like, damn it, we forgot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, it's the one that performed the finale. So that's cool. I also laughed because I was like, oh, Scotty's still in the credits, even though now he's at this point he's on GH.
Mm. I'm wondering if like it was Ken's decision, like, oh, I'm not doing this supernatural shit, and then he's like, okay, we'll just put you with Laura, Luca Laura getting divorced. He's like, okay, fine, bye, awesome.
So I wanted to see if Nolan North was on till the end because I didn't really remember if he was on the full run of the series. So I went to his Wikipedia page. By the way, it is huge because he does like video game voices, animation voices. There were so many like sections to his filmography. I was like, wow, he's busy.
Yeah, I'm
um,
proud of him.
but something I didn't know. Do you remember the MTV soap opera Spider Games?
Yes.
So that came on in 2001 also, and it says he was in 2 episodes of that.
Ooh.
I watched that. I didn't watch it entirely, but I'm like, I don't remember seeing him on Spider Game.
Now that was also a like and my friend like it's like, oh man, 9/11 ruined Spider Games for me. It was also, which I'm not going to say who that friend is,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
because
because
that
it
is a very
started in the
problematic
summer.
statement. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it
of
started in
course,
the summer of 2001, and I think it
mhm,
went into September, and they got
in
all like, yeah,
September, yeah. But that's
yeah,
not what happened. I think a lot of people just weren't watching it, and that's why it ended.
yeah.
But
I think it had low ratings.
yeah, it had very low ratings, for what I understand. And I was watching it too, so I was probably like the only one. One of the only one. So
I watched the first few weeks. I didn't really love it.
I did
Um,
like Christina Chambers on that show. She did a really good job as a villain. I don't know
I
why they
did
had her play the
too,
good
and
girl.
that's why I was like, why do people hate on her? I was like, she wasn't that bad on Spider Game.
Yeah, she like when they replaced her as Molly, like they basically changed her entire character. I'm like, no, she could play that. She played Taylor on Spider Games. Come on, guys.
um, I laughed because I tried to watch it recently. I didn't get too far, but I watched a good chunk,
Mhm.
and they were always referencing, the daytime soaps,
Mhm.
and I was just like, "That's so funny that the the way that they shouted
Well,
at
that's
me."
because Sally Sussman, was one of the creators of the show, or
Oh,
the
was she?
yeah.
That's cool.
Shout out to Sally Sussman. I think we follow each other on Twitter.
Well, if you don't have anything else to add, I guess we can wrap this up. Um, Thank you for joining us for another edition of Poor Charles Tainted Love. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.
Have a good one.